right, welcome back to my channel. So we are going to talk about a post and what Mike Arnold, said on, pertaining this killing going on and the silence of Sultan of Sokoto. He has called Sultan of Sokoto out many times, and people are not picking on that, trying to connect the dots. Remember, a few days ago we published a video on this channel, on this very channel, about Sultan of Sokoto and what Mike Arnold said. He has not stopped, or he keep on pushing, just to demanding a kind of clarification and throw some pertinent question that I don't think Sudan would like to answer those things. And Mike Arnold is one that ran a mockery called, if you can recall, he's an American whom ran a call for fact finding in Nigeria about the Christian genocide, who later exposed Reno beyond repair. He exposed Reno beyond human comprehension. He did not stop there. He keep on explaining things, and he's a very, very, very serious, dedicated Christian. And he don't joke with Christianity. Not that he call for not that he want to see the other people being pie, no. Because I know some people will like to twist this. What I mean by he don't joke with Christianity is that he's a believer who cannot stand lies or lies. So he has done his best. He's still doing it though. He called Sultan of Sokoto many times and asking some questions that everybody is now trying to make sense out of it. All right. So please, before we go in detail, I want you to like the video and do me a favor, subscribe to the channel in case if you're new. Your comment is very, very important. What do I mean by that? Like the video and tell us what you think about the video. All right. That's your comment. And don't forget to turn your bell notification on in case if you are new here. Once you like, you subscribe, turn the bell on so that you will be receiving our videos, each time we upload. Mike Arnold, I have told you who he is an American. He said, why the silence? Okay. Silence of who? Sultan of Sokoto. Why the silence for any leader of 108 million people? Just a touch of transparency is expected. Jihad massacre, mass displacement, and vast looting of resources have been ranging under his nose since he assumed office. He assumed the throne. Logic holds that either he is indeed an influential ruler and does not want it to stop, or he wants it to stop, but he is historically weak and cowardly. Which is it? Complicity or cowardice? Is there a third option? Asking, is there a third option? Please explain. Is his silence a twist on the old adage? Better to keep your mouth shut and let people think you are guilty than to open your mouth and prove them right. Sultan of Sokoto, he tagged this. He said, these simple answers are not for me. Your kingdom is on fire. his kingdom. Your people need to know where you stand. The world need to know where you stand. I ask again, why the silence? He actually put this picture there. Sultan of Sokoto, his response, silence. All right. Let's move to that thing. At least I've shown you this one. So there's this video of some Nigerians trying to react on the first, post of Mike Arnold talking about this Sultan again. That is where he listed some questions and talking about his presence in Afghanistan, in Yemen, something like that. What we have done when he was, look at him, and this is Sultan, and as an army officer, I think this is he's general. I don't know if I attend to the level of general. I don't know if he did. I don't know, but remember the Sultan of Sokoto that is moving like, that like you don't know how to run and how was once a soldier. So Mike Arnold, questioned his presence while serving as a soldier in some, questionable countries. and he was serving in Yemen. I think Yemen somewhere when Al Qaeda was running, and when Osama bin Laden was, was still here doing his thing. So the suspicion is like, could it be that when he was in those, um, radical countries, was he also radicalized that he cannot, bring what he learned from those countries down to the north, down to Nigeria? You never can tell. But here it is.
It is the kind of allegation that does not just shake a throne, it shakes the very foundation of the Nigerian Federation, striking at the heart of the most revered traditional institution in the country. The headline you saw is not a whisper from the rumor mill. It is a thunderous open indictment from an international observer, Mike Arnold, who has publicly named the Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Alhaji Saad Abubakar III, as a suspected sponsor or direct beneficiary of the terrorism ravaging northern Nigeria. Today, Saturday, December 6, 2025, we are breaking down this explosive dossier that has set the diplomatic and intelligence circles on fire. We are looking at the specific, damning checklist of innocence that Arnold has challenged the Sultan to meet. And we are connecting the dots between the Sultan's mysterious military past in Pakistan and the current Lakurawa invasion that is swallowing his domain. To understand the gravity of this moment, you have to realize that Mike Arnold is not just throwing stones. He is launching a precision missile at the credibility of the spiritual leader of Nigeria's 100 million Muslims. In a statement that has gone viral, Arnold argued that if the Sultan is truly innocent of the bloodshed happening under his watch, if he is not complicit in the slaughter of Christians and innocent villagers, he can prove it easily by taking specific actionable steps. But Arnold's conclusion is chilling. In my humble opinion, his continued refusal to do so points to his guilt. This is a direct accusation of tacit approval of genocide. Let's dissect the Pakistan connection, because this is the part of the accusation that has intelligence analysts sitting up. Arnold challenged the Sultan to produce verifiable records of his work as a brigadier general in Pakistan and Afghanistan. Okay. Now, why is this significant? We have verified that before he ascended the throne in 2006, Saad Abubakar served as Nigeria's defense attaché to Pakistan from 2003 to 2006. With accreditation to Afghanistan, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. This was the peak of the global war on terror, a time when that region was the headquarters of Al Qaeda and the Taliban. Arnold is asking a dark question. What exactly did he do there? Who did he meet? Did he bring back an ideology that is now playing out in the forests of Zamfara and Sokoto? The insinuation is that the radicalization we see in the north today might have roots in those diplomatic years, and the refusal to open those files is fueling the suspicion that the Sultan might still be thinking like a general with a hidden agenda. Then there is the issue of fatwas. Arnold needs a simple demand. Issue fatwas against it. Declare killing of infidels to be haram. For years, critics have asked why the Sultanate has been relatively quiet or generic in its condemnation of religious violence. When Deborah Samuel was killed in Sokoto of blasphemy, the silence from the palace was deafening to many. Arnold is arguing that as the supreme head of the Islamic faith in Nigeria, the Sultan has the power to stop the religious justification for these killings with a single decree. By refusing to issue a specific fatwa declaring the killing of Christians as haram, Arnold argues he is giving the killers a theological pass. He is accusing the Sultan of repudiating radical imams only in private, while allowing them to radicalize youths in public. We also have to look at the mineral resources angle. Arnold challenged the Sultan to mobilize against the vast looting of minerals from his domain. This connects directly to the Lakurawa terror group we have been tracking. Security reports confirm that these terrorists are not just killing for sport. They are securing illegal gold mining sites in Zamfara and Sokoto. The northern governors recently called for a ban on mining, but Arnold's point is sharper. How can vast looting happen in the Sultan's backyard without his knowledge? In the traditional structure of the north, the emir knows every stranger who enters his domain. If foreigners from Mali and Niger are extracting gold and buying weapons, is it possible they are doing so without paying homage to the traditional powers? The accusation here is one of direct beneficiary, that the blood money from the mines might be flowing upwards. This allegation comes at a time when the Sultan has been presenting himself as a peacemaker, advocating for the release of Nnamdi Kanu and praising activists like Somore. But Arnold's statement suggests this peace-building image is a mask. He accuses the Sultan of showing not even a hint of moral outrage for the atrocities committed against the innocent. He paints a picture of a leader who is comfortable dining with presidents in Abuja while his own people are slaughtered by Lakurawa and bandits in the villages. The recent invasion of villages in Tangaza and Gudu, where terrorists imposed their own government and collected taxes, happened just kilometers from the Sultan's palace. How does a former brigadier general allow a foreign army to occupy his land unless he is complicit or compromised? The Lakurawa factor is particularly damning. Reports indicate that this group was initially invited by local leaders in 2017 to fight bandits. If the Sultan's district heads invited these foreign fighters who have now turned into monsters, does the ultimate responsibility not lie with the Sultan? Arnold's checklist demands that he work with authorities to identify, locate, and bring the terrorists to book. The implication is that the Sultan knows who they are, knows where they are, but is refusing to give them up. It suggests a protection racket where the traditional institution shields the terrorists from the military onslaught. This expose forces us to rethink the entire security architecture of Nigeria. If the accusations are true, even partially, it means the war against terror is unwinnable because the enemy is inside the command center.
Which is true.
It means that every time the military plans an attack, the information might be
they will receive
intel
from the
palaces they are trying to protect. It explains why the banditry has lasted for over a decade, despite billions of dollars spent on security. Arnold is essentially saying, you are not fighting ghosts, you are fighting the Sultan's foot soldiers. The silence of the Sultanate in the face of such a specific itemized accusation will only fuel the fire. Mike Arnold has drawn a line in the sand. He says these are easy and a no-brainer for any blameless person. By listing actions that are within the Sultan's power, issuing a fatwa, releasing military records, exposing sponsors, he has cornered the monarch. If the Sultan ignores this, it looks like arrogance or guilt. If you respond, he validates the accuser. So, as we watch the Northwest burn, we must ask, is the Sultan a victim of a chaotic system, or is he the architect of the chaos? Is he a helpless traditional ruler, or is he the powerful general pulling the strings of a holy war? Mike Arnold says the evidence points to guilt. And until the Sultan issues that fatwa, exposes those sponsors, and opens his Pakistan files, that dark cloud of suspicion will remain over the throne of Sokoto. What do you think? Is Mike Arnold's accusation a brave truth or a reckless conspiracy theory? And should the Sultan be compelled to release his military records from Pakistan? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
That is it. And I will also want you to understand that Mike Arnold did not just open mouth and talk. That's the reason why what lead to that. You want to see clarity. You want to have the clarity of this man's stand. You don't just say you're a peacemaker without showing the sign of peace, And most of those things happening now cannot be happening under your watch in Sokoto, and you kept quiet. Christianity need to think twice, to be honest with you. I don't know why, Christians are not doing what they ought to do. Please make sure you like the video and let me know what you think about it. Take care of yourself and God bless you. Bye-bye for now. Very, very important that you need to put your comment, please. Bye-bye. Take care.